Welcome back everyone to the mid-patch tier list update. I'm Sean and I'm going to be your host while Dan's away on vacation. So for this patch, we're seeing a really nice shift in the bot lane meta as many new ADCs make their way up the tier list. Udyr hotfix buffs have hit live servers, so we'll have a full breakdown on his power level and optimal setups. All this and much more as we run down the 12.16 solo queue tier list thanks to the help of our challenger players and using the most recent data.
But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below.
A new trend starting to pick up traction in the top lane, especially in high elo, is running Ghost instead of Flash on Fiora. Fiora has incredible mobility built into her kit from the low cooldown on Q, so you're able to get away with Ghost better than most champions. The main benefit to running Ghost over Flash in that it has a much shorter cooldown and is far superior in extended skirmishes. If you can obtain an early lead, Ghost coming off cooldown way quicker allows you to snowball even better. Based on solo queue statistics, Ghost with Teleport has been winning about 1% more than Flash with Teleport the past few patches, so it's definitely a legit setup. Another key point to note is that pros running Ghost are also prioritizing Divine Sunderer over Gore Drinker. Instead of Conqueror, it's Grasp as the keystone, so a much more dueling focused setup here. Ghost combined with Divine Spellblade proc and Ravenous Hydra's Wave Clear provides the ultimate setup for you to dominate the sideline. In regards to Fiora's tier placement, you'll find her in our S tier for 12.16. The Malphite buffs this patch make him an even better counter to champions like Jax, Fiora, Tryndamere, and Aurelia. You can even take it one step further and abuse a Frozen Heart Rush to completely nullify those champs. Frozen Heart Rush is highly undervalued on Malphite, as it gives him all the key stats he wants with mana, armor, and haste. At only 2,500 gold, you have Frozen Heart completed before your opponent has their mythic, allowing you to smack around the enemy top. Malphite is the ultimate counterpick top for 12.16, so look to abuse him in the correct spots with this build. The top lane tier list sees minimal movement from mid-patch as Aatrox, Darius, and Shin remain our OP carries. The Jace buffs really didn't accomplish much in increasing his power level for solo queue, as scaling buffs aren't what the champion needs to become viable again. Aurelia buffs were along the same lines, nothing overly impactful, so a push further up the tier list is going to have to wait a little bit longer. With that said, Aurelia did receive some other buffs back in 12.11, so the compounding effects on the changes have put her in one of the best spots she's been in for all of Season 12. The best low elo top laners of the patch are Garen, Mordekaiser, and Yorick. Shin, Aatrox, and Darius are 3 of the most optimal top lane bans. Diana losing power after her 12.16 nerfs leaves room for Kayn to take hold of an OP tier slot for jungle. Kayn has been an exceptional jungle pick ever since the durability update. He was even buffed a few patches back, and with many junglers nerfed in recent patches, it's his time to shine. The rise in priority on Eclipse is another big reason for an uptick in Kayn's solo queue win rate. We're seeing Eclipse built on so many different champions right now, as Aatrox is abusing it, many ADCs are running it. Of course you have Assassins, and it works just as well for Kayn. 2-item core of Eclipse and Black Cleaver offer a mass amount of armor shred, which provides amazing damage, but you're still quite durable at the same time. Kayn is arguably the best fighter jungler for 12.16, so look to pick him up if you enjoy that style of play. If you want a champion with similar skirmish capabilities of Kayn, but would rather have more early game power than late game scaling, look to pick up Trundle. Trundle fits really well into the current meta, as he fares extremely well into Diana and many of the other highly contested picks. The tank Diana build doesn't really work into Trundle, as he steals her resist and turns her back into the squishy assassin she was designed to be, albeit with less damage because she's built tank. Trundle is also one of the best champions you can play into reworked Udyr, and with his play rate above 20%, you're gonna run into the matchup very often. Don't sleep on the Troll King for 12.16, as he's gonna be placed in the OP tier. With Udyr's solo queue win rate sitting below 42% the first few days of the patch, Riot's been quick to issue some hotfix buffs. A Q max has been abysmally bad, so it's seeing a bunch of different changes. The max health damage is being increased, physical damage AD ratio is going up, while the physical on hit damage is seeing a boost as well. WMAX second, on the other hand, has been looking a little too strong, so Riot's nerfing the max health scaling on the shield strength along with the W heal on hit. E bonus movement speed is receiving a much needed buff, going from 30 scaling to 50% to 30 scaling to 65%. E stun lockouts being reduced by 0.5 seconds at max rank. And E max second have been slightly outclassed by W, so these buffs will help close the gap. R max first is the way to go for every single game, but now you'll have to make a decision between W or E second. The added movement speed on E is going to be really nice to help you stick on to more mobile champs, whereas if the enemy comp has less mobility and kite, then you can max W second. Optimal build for Udyr is a hybrid setup consisting of Sunfire Aegis into Demonic Embrace. A ton of consistent burn damage coming out of this build combined with Udyr's R. As for the rune page, Conqueror seems to have the edge up over Lethal Tempo so far. Lethal is by no means garbage on new Udyr, but Conqueror fits into how he wants to play a little bit better. For Udyr's tier list placement, we have him rated as a good A tier option. The majority of Udyr players aren't playing him to his full potential right now, so don't pay too much attention to his 43% win rate. Once everyone gravitates to the optimal setups, and when you factor in the hotfix buffs, Udyr is much stronger than his stat line may suggest. For the jungle tier list, it's Trundle, Kayn, Fiddlesticks, and Master Yi locking down OP tier spots. The Diana nerfs have landed pretty much where we expected, as she's still a good S tier jungler, but no longer a must pick or a ban for 12.16. The Poppy jungle nerf has hit her slightly harder than anticipated, so we'll be adjusting her from A into B tier for mid patch. Top 3 low elo junglers are Amumu, Master Yi, and Shyvana. Fiddlesticks, Master Yi, and Kayn are a few really good jungle bans to consider. Sylas is the most played mid laner by a long shot right now, so who can you pick to punish him? Heimerdinger is one of the best right now and highly underrated. Sylas needs to be in melee range to be effective, but this bodes super well for Heimer as he thrives when champions are diving in. If you set up turrets and save your E for when Sylas tries to jump in, it's nearly impossible for Sylas to win a trade against Heimer. The ability for Heimer to acquire early priority in a lot of matchups is something that makes him really undervalued for solo queue as well. You can always have the first move on your opponent, which leads to your jungler having so many more options on the map. Heimer is an S tier mid for 12.16. Another mid who's really flying under the radar right now is Galio. The Flash with Ghost Tech is becoming more popular on Galio and winning about 3% more than Flash with Teleport. And the main reason you'd want to pick Galio is for his incredible map impact. So now that you can't use Teleport to directly influence the map pre-14 minutes, Ghost has become the more optimal choice. It's not just Ghost though giving Galio extra strength, as many players continue to sleep on Night Harvester as his mythic. TP and Everfrost are great for a more controlled environment like pro play, but for the chaotic clown fiesta in solo queue, Ghost with Night Harvester is so much better. And let's not forget, just like Heimer, Galio's an excellent counter to Sylas, so he fits perfectly into the current solo queue meta. The mid lane tier remains very close to where we had it pre-patch, as Zed, Victor, Sylas, and Vex are the OP picks. One minor adjustment consists of Zoe moving into S tier, as the buffs have been slightly more impactful than expected. As mentioned in our pre-patch tier list, Tristana mid is looking super good with her buffs and is a superb mid lane pickup if you want a champion who can play extremely aggro and force a ton of early plays. If you're a mid lane mage player and have been looking for that AD mid to add to your champion pool to counter the likes of Kassadin, then Trist is amazing for that as well. The best mid laners to climb low elo are Swain, Malzahar, and Annie. Sylas, Zed, and Vex are 3 of the most optimal mid lane bans. 12.16 Caitlyn buffs have led to her play rate doubling, and she's back in her S tier for the first time in a while. Riot's been slowly chipping away at Caitlyn, giving her small buffs every now and then for the past few months, so it was only a matter of time before she became meta again. Both buffs provide Kate with a sharper mid-game spike and allow her to run away with advantages a little easier now. Rest in peace to all the Zeri mains out there, as Riot had no choice but to gut her for solo queue as a result of pro play presence. Zeri now holds the lowest win rate for any champion in the game, and yes, that means even lower than Ryze. Last patch with Zeri sitting around a 46% win rate, you could justify her as a good solo queue option, but now that she's dropped to 42%, there's really no argument to be made. If you care about your elo, then definitely drop Zeri for 12.16. She's going to be placed in our C tier. Lots of meta shifting ADC changes this patch, but one constant is Sivir as the lone OP carry. Tristana is going to be bumped up one tier further and into S for mid-patch, as the Q buff has allowed her to rocket jump into a top tier spot. With Zeri being so much worse than all the other marksmen, we see it best fit if she holds down the only C tier spot while Aphelios joins the B tier. Instead of nerfing Draven, Riot probably should have just nerfed Eclipse, as Neela and Miss Fortune are outstanding pickups and can both abuse Eclipse. Draven's slightly weaker due to his nerf, but the change wasn't enough to push him out of a high standing. Veigar, Miss Fortune, and Seraphine are three of the best bot lane carries for low elo. Using your ban on Neela, Sivir, or Draven is good value for 12.16. We were ecstatic to see Yuumi nerfs this patch, but it didn't last for long as Riot's gone ahead and hotfix buffed Yuumi. Q-based damage has been increased at the later ranks, while her ultimate cooldown's been buffed at the earlier ranks. Prior to these hotfix changes, we had Yuumi placed in our B tier, but now we have to adjust her back into A as a result of the buffs. It wasn't all too long ago when Leona was one of the worst supports for solo queue, but that definitely is no longer the case. Direct buffs last patch and now indirect buffs with Even Shroud in 12.16 have pushed Leona back into a really good spot. If you're still building the defensive locket on an aggro support like Leona, then look to make the swap to Even Shroud. 60% of Leona players continue to build Locket every game, while Even Shroud users are winning a whole 5% more. If building Leona correctly, she's an amazing S tier support for 12.16. For the support tier list, we have Amumu and Janna as the premier OP picks. Zyra is in a really nice spot after her 12.16 buff, so if you're looking for that carry support to add to your champion pool, look no further. Rel, being one of the best Even Shroud users, has seen a nice spike in power this patch, so we'll be moving her up into the S tier. Maokai is quite the underrated pick with Even Shroud as well, and is one of the better engaged supports for solo queue. To climb low elo from support, our three recommendations are Amumu, Brand, or Zyra. Renata Glask, Amumu, or Pyke are high on the ban list.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into Elo Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
So that's how the solo queue meta is shaping out midway through 12.16. Thanks for watching, everyone. Good luck in solo queue, and we'll see you back soon.